This episode of the Blucifer Brothers, we're talking about the Avs season opener. Will the goalie ever save a puck? Does he know he's allowed? Will the Broncos ever lose a game again? All that and more. Dan, play that funky music. We're here after another Broncos thrilling offensive performance. My goodness, Ryan, the sparks were flying, and the Broncos, they barely outscored the Vegas Knights in the Avs home opener, but they were able to get to victory. I'm Kyle Poland, joined as always by my brother Ryan Poland. Ryan, how are you doing this fine week here in Colorado?
I'm doing great, Kyle. That Avalanche offense looked like a Nathaniel Hackett well-oiled machine out there. They were putting up 6 points like no big deal. So that was exciting to see. Unfortunately, they took the L in Vegas, but we're looking forward. We're looking forward to a wonderful weekend of football, and I know you got some special plans with the family, so I'm sure that'll be exciting too.
It's a lot in the fall. Can we just say it's a lot. This also, I think it's harder when it's not your kid's first time experiencing something, Ryan, to be as excited for how inherently boring it is. Like, just walking around and picking a pumpkin is boring, right? Like, it's not fun. But the first time you get to see the kid do it, and you're showing them the different stuff and the little mazes and all that, you're like, oh, dang, I did. This is kind of fun. This is kind of cool. And then even the last year, because it was like the first time the son was really like coordinated enough to do stuff.
Walking around.
Like, oh, he's running around. He's doing that. Oh, wow, what a thrilling time. This year, I'll just say enthusiasm is at a low point. All right, enthusiasm is at a low point.
Do you think there's
nice that it's
do you think
not
there's
on a football
elevated
Sunday?
Activities that he's going to be able to do that are like more...
there are. They do have activities, but like it's basically a glorified like crappier playground. But because you're around some places where there's more pictures able to be taken,
right?
Then
you got to pay $40 to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Now this one, I do not believe there's a entry fee where we're going. That's super high. It's and
wait, you said super high, or there's no entry fee?
I was gonna say no entry fee, but I don't know 100%. But I remember that it's more that like once you're inside, any activity that your kid wants to do besides buying a pumpkin, you're just going to throw them a little cash for that. Yeah. Which last year was just fine because the kids weren't tall enough or big enough to get on anything or care about anything. But this year, we'll see how Dan and I come out. Hopefully we're here next week and we survive this. But it is on a Saturday, so we gotta take.
They got a train.
They do have a train, which is the number one worry this year.
Yeah, you're getting on that train, dog. Be ready to be on that train.
That might be the only saving grace. From what I remember last year, too little for parents to get on. So you got to be willing to go.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's really going to come down to, will all the toddlers want to go?
Piper and everybody.
They're going to need a courage buddy, an accountability buddy on the train there.
Yeah. But, we all need that sometimes.
Yeah. You know what? It's going to be okay. It's going to be A-okay. But you were talking about the Avalanche. I wanted to quickly start with them. They had their season opener. The Knights came to town. God, I really hate the Vegas Knights. And so it hurt extra to just get smacked out at home, especially after it got off to such a promising start. You get around and getting a goal early, and then Georgie did what Georgie does. And what he does better than anyone is let pucks into the net. It was a really bad performance from him. And the Avs, like, bad performances happen, and I didn't think anything of it until, like, outside of oh, that's a bummer that he had a crappy game, until after the game, there was Bednar saying it felt like any time we made a mistake, the puck was in the back of the net. And for game one, for your coach to come out like that, and then Mikko said, it feels like anytime I close my eyes a little bit, that there's still pucks going into the net. It feels like this team has lost confidence in the goalie. And I just worry now with kind of, we don't have Sakic as the GM anymore. It feels like this is where Sakic would have just been aggressive and been like, I don't care. We're good. And it's clear all these guys don't believe in our goalie. We need to go get somebody. And I'm not sure that that's going to happen quick enough, because this feels like it could be a locker room problem where everyone's like, well, yeah, I mean, everyone makes mistakes, but this guy makes 8 of them a game. It's pretty tough to overcome.
Yeah, I think in a hockey locker room, to hear those things coming out of it is particularly telling, because these guys are notorious for saying absolutely nothing and just being team first, positive this, positive that. Like, to hear that come out of the locker room is a little concerning, considering we're one game into the season. But we're also not a one game sample size into this from old Georgie. Like, we've got seasons of watching this be relatively bad. So I don't think that I hope that you're wrong. But honestly, like, I don't know enough. I know we're in like cap hell because we have so many players hurt that are so expensive. So it's hard. But I don't know.
It just feels like at this point, I'm not sure it can be salvaged for him here.
No.
Like, it's one of those situations where you're just like, hey, man, the fan base hates this guy. Everyone in the locker room hates this guy. And whether it's all his fault or whether he's as bad as he looks, like, it's not going to get better with that kind of energy.
It's a new scenery
like, imagine
thing.
walking into the office every day and everyone's like, hey, Ryan, you suck. All right, Ryan, I hate you. God, I pray every day with my 2-year-old toddler that you're going to leave this company. That's what we say every night before I tuck him into his bed. And he cries. Oh, he cries, Ryan, because you're still at this company. All right, my toddler is so sad. All right. That's a lot to take in. And you might not perform your best at the company with that feedback. That's not what we call a feedback sandwich there. Right?
Yeah.
It's just a shit sandwich. It's a lot of shit you're getting there.
Yeah.
And I think Georgie might have hit that point. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem like a bad human in any sort of way. He just sucks at stopping hockey pucks right now. And I think he should go somewhere else.
It's a classic new scenery. Everybody needs it. He needs it. The team needs it. It's best for everybody. I hope they make it happen.
Yep. Speaking of new scenery, it happened almost a week ago now, but I do want to quickly recap the Broncos' victory over the Raiders. It looked a little rough. Producer Dan was threatening to shut the game off before Pat Surtain had
literally right before.
My finger was on the power button.
I was on the antenna. I was on the antenna, so I knew I was pretty much live. And I saw Surtain pick it off, and I looked at my phone, and it was Dan. I was getting ready to text you guys excited, and Dan says, I'm going to turn this off. This team sucks. And I'm watching Surtain run down the field. I'm like, don't turn it off yet, buddy.
Yeah, hold out. Yeah, it was pretty great. I think we talked about it last week. This cornerback duo is legit. Obviously, this was the weakest wide receiver core we're going to go against. Like, this was not surprising from them after what we saw them do to Godwin and Mike Evans. Like Godwin and Mike Evans are both light years better than Myers and whoever their second wide receiver was, right? Like they were, when we saw them perform against those two, it was good to see them here. So I guess we'll start with the good. We'll start with the positive there. This defense is
Riley Moss,
pretty unreal.
first white
thus far.
cornerback to get an interception in 22 years in the NFL.
It was pretty cool.
Patrick Surtain afterwards was amazing talking about it. he wanted to say it so bad, and he finally did. He was like, I mean, he's a white guy, so like everybody was doubting him. And yeah, it was a cool moment.
Yeah, I like Pat Surtain's idea, by the way. He called into the DNVR podcast and was soliciting nicknames, but I do like his idea of calling them Pulp Fiction. I think that's objectively pretty funny and a pretty good
Did Surtain come up with that?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
maybe someone suggested it to him, but like he brought it up to the podcast.
That man, we cannot protect him more. Like, I realize that even people on this podcast who will remain unnamed were floating trading him because this team was going to suck. And, like, that was a real talking point of, like, if this gets bad, we can move off of him and get a shit ton of picks for him because he's awesome. Like, no, it was not like he's a bad locker room guy. It was only this team is going to be bad enough that we may not need him. And it may be generationally bad to the point where we need to offload him in order to get something back. And that seems so far away right now. Like he is an absolute island. And it's Champ Bailey status, like him meeting with Champ before that game, them attach it or exchanging jerseys, and then him getting the pick six with Champ on the sideline. Like that's an elite moment, and I hope he, like Champ Bailey, has a wonderful career in a Broncos uniform and is a number one corner for the next 15 years. Like that guy is so fucking good at football. It's upsetting, honestly. I told you guys before the podcast, I went and found my Surtain cards because I just wanted to look at them again.
It was also, I think, very telling that after Bowers was pretty impactful on those first two drives, and we talked about it. After that, if it was a 3rd and long, our boy, old Patty Surtain, said, "No problem. Riley's got Jacoby, and I'll go get Brock." And he's big, he's physical. There's just not a type of receiver that it seems like he struggles with in any way, shape, or form. And he's awesome.
He got kind of beat.
Good things about him.
Somebody was talking to him. I can't remember who it was from the Raiders early in the game. I can't remember, but it must have been Myers. He caught like kind of a crossing route, and he got up, and it was like a first down, and Surtain was like, "All right, man." And 6 plays later or whatever, he's waltzing into the end zone after a 100-yard interception return. So he and the defense are extremely fun right now, and I talked last week about I didn't know whether it was repeatable. It looks pretty damn repeatable right now. Like what they're doing it doesn't look hard. Nothing they're doing looks difficult. And that's exciting. The offense is a completely different story. What they're doing also looks repeatable in a pretty tough way. So
similar offense to what you're seeing from the Broncos. The final note on the defense, I think it hurts my feelings a little bit to say this. Beat up on a man while he's down. We might be better with Singleton injured? Don't we look a little faster in the linebacker core? Don't they look a little closer with Sternad and them coming downhill? Looks a little better there, in my opinion. That's my first thing. Didn't feel good saying it, but had to say it.
Well,
And
good
then the
news
second
is he
thing
won't
is-
be back this year, so no worries there.
It feels like the Broncos, a lot of teams, it feels like now have those really impactful edge rushers, Crosby, the Bosas. But it feels like the Broncos are basically just using the middle of the field with Allen and Roach to just be like, these guys are going to ruin your play immediately. And so even though we don't have the same kind of pass rushing talent, we're still getting pressure because they're getting singled every time out there.
It's a disciplined edge, and then you just let the center attack, and you're like, sorry.
You can't rush because him and Roach are pushing them 3 yards into the backfield. So, like, it's kind of an edge rusher's dream where it's kind of weird where you're like, well, we have 2 really good corners. We have unbelievable tackles, and everyone else just kind of does their job. And it appears to be a pretty good formula right now. I'm interested to see it against. This is not a great offensive team by any stretch of the imagination with what the Chargers have shown thus far, but Herbert is by far the best quarterback they're going to have seen thus far in the season. I mean, they've seen Justin Fields, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, and the corpse of Aaron Rodgers.
In the rain. I mean, they haven't seen anybody, but this is not going to be a team that's going to attack us through the air. This is not. They're going to run the ball, and good luck.
No, for sure. I'm just saying, if there's a quarterback who can make some off-schedule plays, some stuff.
No, and he's definitely good, but he doesn't have weapons. Like if Moss and Surtain are healthy and on the field, who's he throwing the ball to? Honestly, like I was looking at it for our best bets of the week, which we'll get into later, and I'm looking at these receiving props, and you have not seen numbers like this it looks like it's a high school game. I mean, these guys are like the highest over-under is like 79. Like, nobody thinks that there's going to be passing yards in this game. So it's going to be a battle of the trenches. And to your point where, the Broncos middle of the line, they're a home underdog here. Like, it's a little bit disrespectful to the defense to be catching these points, just because I don't think that the Chargers have been explosive. And Herbert is unbelievable, to your point, but I don't think he has the offensive talent to really punish the deficiencies of this Broncos defense. Like, if they had an unbelievable tight end, we'd be in some serious trouble. But they don't. So
yeah, it feels like the kind of game where Ladd McConkey should just record his welcome to the NFL moment before the game. Like, he should be like, my God, I was out there, and Pat he didn't say a word to me the whole game. Honestly, he was super nice about it. He was like, hey, good route, young fella. But I don't think I got more than an inch of separation the whole game.
So I'll pull people behind the curtain a little bit. I was trying to find one of these unders to bet in the receiving market because I'm like, either one of these teams, somebody's got to have good value here. And Ladd McConkey's 4.5, and I'm like 4.5 receptions. I'm like, ooh, under. But then I'm looking around. I'm like, Josh Palmer's 3.5. like nobody is going to be getting the ball. He's their number one receiver according to the odds. So I'm like, I kind of think that Surtain probably should be on Josh Palmer to start. Just because Palmer's so much bigger, and Moss can match up probably pretty well against McConkey. So I'm like, well, maybe McConkey's going to get so it's hard to bet on these things because we're so good, and Surtain can go and do anything that you're like, I don't know who he's going to shut down. I know he's going to shut down somebody, and I wish I could predict it. And later on, we probably will be, which is a betting thing to look out for in the future, is just like, okay, if a team has a clear number one wide receiver, just bet they're under. Like, this guy's fucking unbelievable. He doesn't allow anybody to catch the ball, Kyle. It's unfair.
Yeah, I was looking at when you look at his wide receivers defended, like with Evans and Metcalf, Pickens, like it's not good stats coming out of those guys. Garrett Wilson, it's not good at all. But I feel like we're already starting to get into this Chargers game, so let's just fully get into it. To me, when I look at this game, Ryan, I think of the Spider-Man meme when I look at these offenses, because it's going to be a lot of dumping off to running backs, a lot of conservative play calling, don't mess it up, let's play disciplined, let's field position battle. I mean, there's a reason this over-under is set at 35.5. Like, they can't set this thing low enough here. So, do you see any way that either one of these teams comes out of their shell? Obviously, the Chargers are coming off of a bye, but you still have the Herbert ankle issues. And for all of the hoopla about what turned into kind of a laugher, I thought Nix was pretty bad quietly in the Raiders game. I thought there was just like it was a lot of just throw it short, dump offs, missing guys, not, abandoning stuff.
I think honestly he gets the pass only because Crosby was being mean to him. I sent you the clip, and Crosby was bullying him, and nobody can be expected to work in those sort of conditions. So I really think for everybody, watching this and listening in, imagine being bullied at your workplace. Like, you probably wouldn't perform your best either. So I think this is the one time where I'm willing to give him a little bit of a rookie pass here. You can't get punked like that in your second and third year, but the first time that Max Crosby is yelling at you, "Speak up, Bo, they can't hear you. They don't understand you." I think you get a pass.
Also, Harbaugh famously in a Stop the Hate commercial, so there won't be any trash talking from the Chargers players. It's just going to be a good, clean game out there. So that'll be good. So are we both on the same page that this is going to be a hideous game?
Unbelievably bad. I mean, I'm going to watch every second of it.
14-13 or 13-10. Like, it feels gross to me.
We talk about this sometimes here before March Madness, but it is a rule during March Madness that often when you see a total that's like, why is it so low? It's because they can't make it low enough. Like, they would love this. If Vegas was setting this number, I'm not sure that you could convince me it wouldn't be 28.5. But because that's such a ridiculous NFL total, they can get even money on 35. So but I think this is a dead nuts under. And the only way it goes over are turnovers and defensive touchdowns. Patrick Surtain could have 2 pick sixes. This game might go over, but I just can't see either of these offenses. I mean, you look at every market in the prop. Just look at the total and then look at any time touchdown scorer. There isn't a negative odds on the board. The best odds are J.K. Dobbins at plus 120. Javonte Williams is plus 200 to score a touchdown. They're basically saying, we don't think anybody's going to score a touchdown, and when and if they do, we have no idea who it's going to be. So I think this is just an under that is screaming to be bet. So couldn't agree more.
Okay, so now we've laid it out. It's going to be hideous. It's going to be close. It's going to be a lot of punting, a lot of all that. Who do you see coming out on top here? This is a game that started 2.5. It's gone all the way up to 3, which means that bettors think that the Chargers are 5 points better than the Broncos, which they haven't necessarily shown. Obviously, they get a chance to be healthier, but on their injury report, they have no Gus Edwards, no Asante Samuel, and then Bosa's questionable, as well as Rashawn Slater might not be 100% there. He's got the pectoral issue, and he's obviously their stud tackle. So they've got injury concerns. The Broncos have injury concerns. They're going to be down to our third string tackle opposite Garrett Bowles. So I pray to God Bosa doesn't play because our tackles are going to be struggling a bit out there. But to me, it just feels like who can establish a run game here a little bit to try to make it so that the like dink and dunk stuff gets you first downs, right? Because it's like, okay, you rushed for 4 yards on first down. Now when you do the little 3-yard play, it's 3rd and 2, right? Versus you get stuffed for 1 yard, and then you're dink and dunk, and it's 3rd and 6. I think 6 yards and longer are death versus these defenses. I think it's going to be bad if you get in those spots a lot. What do you see here? 3 points feels like a lot to me, but also this tackle situation and a new center has me nervous for the Broncos.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries are definitely a concern. I honestly just don't think that this Chargers team is very good. So my gut, and I think this is a live play, but I would lean Broncos money line here. I just think that our defense is too good. And this Chargers team has shown basically nothing to say that they're going to be able to take advantage of. Their defense hasn't been very good. They've been fine. I mean, they'll get pressure, but we just went against Max Crosby. Like, it's the same game plan. So I just think we can muck this up, and they know how to win that type of game. I'm probably going to stay away from this. I do think I'm going to bet this under. And I might honestly take an alternate under. I was just trying to find it for potentially switching one of my best bets to just a crazy alternate under, like do 13.5 or something. I think this could be like an all-time ugly game. So I honestly think there could be, I don't know. It'll be an interesting test of Harbaugh's intelligence too, in terms of like coaching matchup. Like, I think we both are on the same page that we don't really trust Sean Payton. But if he can at least scheme up something to get, this Chargers offense slowed down and the defense tuned up a little bit, you're like, okay, he's now winning with stuff that, like, nobody thought this Broncos team was going to be good, right? Their over-under was 5.5 at the beginning of the year. So you do have to start giving some credit to the people around a rookie quarterback and a defense that wasn't projected to be very good. And I think that for the defense, Vance Joseph deserves the lion's share of that credit. Yeah. But for Bo Nick's development, I think Sean hasn't stunted that yet, which is something that everybody should be proud of.
Yeah. No. It's been an up and down year. I think I'm going to say it's down. I think the bye, and I think when it comes down to it for me, you go, all right, this is going to be a 1-possession field goal game. Who do you trust? Do you trust Herbert or Bo Nix? I'm going to take Herbert to get that thing done right. I agree with you. This isn't one of my plays or something that I'd bet before the game. I agree with you. I think I like the under more than anything in this game. but I am going to take the Chargers here. I'm going to take them 13-6. Is going to be my
Yeah,
score
I'll
prediction.
do. I didn't give a score there. I'll do 14-10 Broncos.
Yeah, if a team gets in the end zone twice, Ryan, it's over.
I think it's a defensive touchdown. It could be two. I'm taking
That's
Surtain
fine
for
by
two
me. I
touchdowns.
didn't say how they get in there. Special teams, whatever. Carried by angels. However it happens, baby. I'm angels that empower. I'm with it. But turning points into touchdowns is key, which is another reason I'm a little skeptical of this Broncos team too, just because the red zone struggles have been so pronounced with Knicks.
I'm not going to do this as a best bet, but I will throw it out there. Under 27.5 is plus 276. That is really tasty. I mean, very, very, very tasty.
Yeah, it's not bad at all, especially like really what helps.
That's 14-13
touchdowns. It's like you said, it's like the strip sack or something like that. That just you're like, oh, he's housing that cheese. Like, but other than that, I mean, these are two teams that are going to play slow. They're going to run. They don't get a lot of explosive plays. To Ryan's point, the Chargers wide receiver group, Lad McConkey's been the most explosive player, and even him, it's not like he's running away from guys. He's just happened to, have some plays where he got in behind the defense or something.
He looks good for a rookie, but he's a rookie wide receiver that you're counting on for being your best guy. So that doesn't seem...
Oh, no. Like I said, I think there's going to be, even if these teams are moving the ball against each other, it's going to require a lot of first downs to do it. And then I trust these defenses to stall them out. This is a test for this Broncos defense as far as like Harbaugh is instilling a physical brand of football. And like this offense is going to try to come out and they're not going to be cute. They're not going to be creative. They're not going to be any of that. They're going to be, we are running right at you. And if you don't stop it, we're never going to stop handing the ball off. Like that's a concern I have as well, is getting swallowed up. But obviously Allen and Roach, like we talked about, they've been so good in the middle. You got to hope that they can continue that. All right. Speaking of best bets, let's get into it. We both made money last week. Ryan made more than I because this defense that after the first 2 weeks was like everyone's talking about one of the best defense in the NFL. They couldn't stop Dak Prescott at home. That was infuriating. And then the Saints, just when I saw that end zone big man pick and he's rumbling out, I was like, oh, we're headed to a backdoor cover, baby. This team is trash, but I can tell they're about to get me home. No, I swear to God, when I get the idea in my head to bet against Patrick Mahomes, it just activates something inside of him. Like, that man, he doesn't play for the love of the game. He doesn't play for Super Bowls. He just plays to fuck me over in this contest. That's the only reason Patrick Mahomes is still doing it. And it's infuriating, honestly. But I am a Broncos fan, so I'm not going to pick him this week. I don't want him to win again. But Ryan is in the lead here. You had a 2-1 week last week. A great week for you. And honestly, you kind of got hosed on the one that you missed. It was like a Raiders garbage time touchdown where you could tell the Broncos defense was like, sure, whatever, dude. It was like when they handed off to the guy who's been a team manager for like 12 years.
Yeah.
And they're like, let him score a touchdown. It's senior night. That's how the Raiders' last touchdown was that hosed you. So I did feel bad for you in that one as well. But I felt like we were we were starting to get a little dialed in last week.
I felt the same way.
Right side of things.
I felt the same way, and I kind of feel the same way this week. I don't know. We haven't discussed our picks yet, so I'm excited to see what you got. You should go first. I'm excited.
Okay. I am going to start off with a tasty bet. I, of course, got a plus 162 to hit last week with the Broncos more than a touchdown. Or a touchdown. I think I took them 6.5. But I'm going back to the plus but this time I've got a same game parlay it. I do not think that Bo Nix is. I don't know if there's going to be a game this season against a competent defense in which Bo Nix has over 4 completions to a wide receiver. So, like you, I was dialed in on the wide receiver markets. So I'm taking under 4.5 receptions for Sutton. It feels like even when Sutton's been open across the middle, him and Nix just aren't on the same page as far as like ball placement and all of that. And so even some like easy ones, Nix has missed him on. And obviously he's the number one threat. So teams are really focusing in on him. I'm going to take Javonte over 2.5 receptions. We have seen so many dump offs here.
Check down, Charlie.
Don't have a healthy running back room. You're not getting those like you're starting to see Javonte take more and more of the downs, and so he's just going to get 3 receptions. Sutton's getting less than 5 receptions, and we're going to be at plus 156 for that, and that'll take us home there. I don't care about the yardage. I don't care about any of it. Sutton can have one big play. Because like you said, I am scared of that. Like, all it takes is one slip.
Yeah.
And I think Sutton's, like you mentioned, is like 47 or something like that.
No, they're all super low.
Yeah. Like, so, like I didn't want to mess with the receiving yards, but receptions, I feel like that's game plan. That's that. And at this point, Peyton has shown us who he is. He is going to do tight ends, running backs, and sprinkle in some wide receivers, especially with this group.
Yeah, I think you're barking up the right tree there. I like that pick, and I love a same game parlay, and I love something that's correlated in the same game parlay. Like I'm fading this receiver, and I'm giving those targets to this person. I love that sort of logic with it. So I might tail that in real life. My first one, I'm going to go sort of the opposite of you. It's my least valuable play on the board, but I think it's sort of free money, so I'm just going to take it. When you see $1, sometimes you just have to pick up $1, So it's minus 130, but it is Patrick Surtain tackles and assists over 3.5. He just gets this. Like, I think they're going to run a lot, and he's going to know they're running a lot, and he's going to go in and get an assist on a tackle with the running back. And I think this number he just gets to very easily. It's minus 130 for a reason, right? So you're taking out some of the value, but I anticipate him being all over this game, even if they're not throwing it in his direction.
It also feels like, I like this one. It also feels like sometimes if it's like one of those 3rd and 20s or, just 3rd and really long, it feels like sometimes once Surtain sees, like he'll play it so that he'll play off enough to be like, if you cut in for 7 yards, that's fine. I'm going to let you catch it.
Yes.
And then I'm going to come through and I know I'm going to tackle.
He's going to get one tackle on a target.
I'm just going to let this quarterback dump it there and we're not going to get burned anywhere else. Boom, boom, boom. Like,
throw it to him. My guy's open.
Right here. And then he just comes up and is very sure. So it feels like you get like one of those a game. And then to your point, you get him coming in the running game. And he's such a big cornerback that he's not afraid to get in there and tackle with some outside stretch stuff, some screens,
or in zone,
wide receivers,
in zone stuff. When somebody else messes up and he needs to go run 30 yards and tackle the guy. Like, I just think he's going to get tackles.
Yeah, I like it. And I like riding the Patty Surtain thing. And I also think, to your point, I think this is a prop to keep an eye on just because more and more stats are just going to keep coming out about how good he is in coverage. And so I feel like the public is going to be like, well, I'm going to take under because you can't throw near him. You can't do it. And it's like, well,
it doesn't mean he
they
can't
play zone.
be.
They play
He's really fast and big
close to
and
the line,
strong, so he's going to do other things too.
Yeah. And so I don't mind that one at all.
I don't mind telling you I have a crush on him.
I don't. You know what? I don't mind telling you you have some competition. I'm now going. I'm going a little ugly here, Ryan. But I think it's okay. This goes towards.
Wait, can I guess?
Just what I've seen on the field.
Can I guess?
It goes towards two trends that I believe in pretty powerfully this season.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Is it a team?
Yes.
It's a money line?
It's a spread.
Oh, spread?
Yep.
Is it the Patriots?
Yeah, it's the Patriots.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Ryan.
I'd do it.
Exactly right. Drake May getting his first start. You know I love first start for a quarterback. They haven't seen you yet. It's harder to scout on you. The team just gets excited because they're like, God, you're not that guy.
And they're so excited that he's not Jacoby Brissett. They could not be more excited.
So it feels like it gets some energy. It gets some energy in the building. Also, teams that are in this, like, we talked about it last week, but this, like, 6-point underdog range, they have won more than 50% of the games just money line. And
it's like 80% cover rate or something.
I heard a stat, and it was like they were hitting at like 20% money line at this point in the year last year. Like, it's just outrageous. And so I think also on the other side, they're playing the Texans at home. The Texans lucked the hell out that McDermott he actually got a sympathy concussion for when Josh Allen got it. He was like, if I hit my head, can we put Josh back in the game? And it seemed like a good idea at the time.
Tell the truth.
Yeah, when he
started,
the truth. Yeah, when he threw and took no time off the clock. That was something.
People forget that Will Smith was in concussion, and then he gave Chris Rock that concussion.
Yeah, it's just while accepting an award for concussion.
Full circle.
Yeah.
You tell the truth. He should have said that. It would have been way funnier if he said that after he slapped Chris Rock. In the same accent as that
I am
doctor.
Telling the truth. Your wife has alopecia.
You tell the truth. Yeah, man.
I am.
That's what I said. Yeah.
But I think that this Texans team, they're not good away from home. CJ Stroud is a favorite of 3 or more, is 2-7. As a starter. And they haven't, they barely beat the Bears when, the Bears were bad. The Bills played poorly and should have had a chance to win that game. It just feels like there's something off about this Texans team. It feels like also this defense, they have some talent outside, but they're not good in a lot of other places. And so it feels like a team that can be run on, can give up some big explosive plays, and May's a little more equipped because he can throw more than 10 yards. So I really like Patriots here. I think the 6.5 is too many points. And I think if you're looking if for some reason you're still looking at teasers after they've just gotten murdered by favorites, I think I would tease the Patriots up here. I think this is a great teaser candidate. If the under a touchdown scares you a little bit here, fine, tease them up. But I'm not scared by it. 6.5 is minus 104 because it was up to 7, so minus 104 right now.
I love this bet, Kyle, and I'm going to go through a couple of reasons why I love it. I do not want that teaser leg anywhere near me. Take the money line, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think the Patriots could win this game, and they're plus 225 right now. Okay, so I love the bet for a couple of reasons. You look at this total, it's 37.5. That is unbelievably low to have a 6.5 point spread. That's only 2 points greater than the Broncos Chargers line, and that's 3. Every other line in that range of total is between 1 and 3. Because if you're going to only score 37 points, you think that the game is going to be close. Like, that's typically how the NFL goes. So this line just seems completely out of whack. I love the bet. I'd sprinkle a little on the money line in real life. If you're gonna take the plus 6.5, take the money line too.
Also, forgot to mention quickly, no Nico Collins.
Yeah.
And he has been an absolute stud for the
He's on
Texans.
IR. Like,
no, he's been and a stud for my fantasy team.
I think the Texans are on fraud
worried,
watch a little bit here
about what we're doing here.
Yeah, I think the Texans are. They remind me a little bit of the Grizzlies last year. It's different circumstances, right? Where like it's not Ja Morant, whatever. But when Ja Morant hurt his shoulder and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to play," like you kind of were like, "Oh, well, you guys are going to suck." And we all thought you could be in contention for the Western Conference, but now you're going to suck. And I think that unfortunately is where the Texans find themselves right now. And I think this could be the week where that starts. So I love that bet. I hate how much we're agreeing right now.
Yeah. What do you got second?
I'm gonna.
I hate it.
What I had was under 17.5 in the first half of the Chargers Broncos game, which is just free money. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the alternate spread instead. But let me just find what total exactly I want to take. Yeah, I'm going to take under 30.5 for the full game total in the Chargers Broncos at plus 175. We already went through this enough. You all know why we feel this way, but it's an alternate for a reason. I tried to find the value there, but that's what it is.
Yeah, it feels like this is the difference between them saying like, hey, there's a 50-50 chance you strike out or get a home run, or you can just get 100% double. And this just feels like you're like, yeah, let me just bang out doubles out here. You didn't quite swing for that 27.5 home run, but
I'm going to bet that in real life probably, though.
Yeah, bang out a double, though.
Yeah.
Especially since you're in the lead in the contest currently. A little 175 is more than enough, right, to keep you in the lead here. My final one is kind of ugly too, just because they seem determined to find new ways to lose every week, which is impressive. But they got a win last week. I'm gonna take the Jaguars. I think they are so they're plus money here against this Chicago Bears team. Ryan, the Bears have played the Panthers, the Colts, and who'd they beat up on last week? The Browns. Was it the Browns? No, the Browns got beat up by the Commanders. I'll look up their last 30, but trust me when I tell you, they're some. Maybe producer Dan can grab that for me. They're 3 of the worst teams in the league. Like they are, since they played on that Sunday night and lost to the Texans, they have played some horrendous teams, and so I think they're a little bit overvalued here. And I think that the Jags, you talk about a team that's been going to London. This is basically their second home at this point. Producer Dan is showing it to me here.
Rams and Panthers, and Colts.
Yeah,
they got beat by the Colts.
Panthers, Colts. Producer Dan was showing me their future schedule. What a moron.
You were talking about the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
The Bears,
lost to the
so I'm saying the
Texans.
Bears are overvalued.
They lost to the Texans, lost to the Colts, and then beat the Rams and the Panthers.
Yeah. The Rams played a practice squad defense out there and no wide receivers. And the Panthers are the Panthers. So I think they're overvalued. I think the Jags have been to London before. I think that this is a team that like people.
Did you see the thing that their plane got
having,
delayed on the way to London because of the hurricane, and they got in like 24 hours after they were supposed to?
Don't care.
All right.
Don't care, Ryan.
This is where we deviate, my brother. This is where we deviate. I'm gonna let you be on an island on this pick.
Yeah, I just think that the Bears, they're not like. I don't think they're a very good team. I don't think they're. I don't trust Caleb Williams versus some of the pressure that the Jags are going to be able to get on him. And I think that sometimes you just have to look at preseason expectations when you're like, oh, I don't necessarily love either one of these teams. People were like, oh, the Jags could come back, and they were like a trendy South pick. Not on this podcast, but on others and like playoff teams, you know? Whereas like the Bears were never that. Like they're here for a reason. So I think that the talent discrepancy here is fairly large, and I'm going to just take the Jags.
Listen, I don't disagree with any of your fundamentals, but I have just been wrong on the Jags for the last 4 years. So I'm going to leave it alone. And I think you've been wrong on the job. I think we together have been wrong. We've always disagreed,
Mahomes,
and one of us is always wrong.
They'd be my least profitable team to bet on. But baby, we're back.
Well, I wish you luck on that, but I will not be tailing that. My last one is we're sticking on theme here. We're just going all Broncos all the time here. And I'm going to take Zach Allen over 4.5 tackles and assists. Same thing we're talking about. It's plus 125, which I was sort of shocked by. I think they're just going to be running at him all game, so I'm pretty excited about this number. And the other thing that I will shout out here is that, I guess I'll let you react to that, but I'm going to give the people a bonus bet here. But
yeah, I am shocked that that's plus money. That feels great to me. I don't know what Vegas knows that we don't, but
I think they're just assuming that they're going to run outside, right? Like that's the only thing that I can think of is that they're just thinking that, but it doesn't really matter because he's so athletic that
I was going to say, and it feels like that was the other point. It feels like we've given him almost this is not saying they're the same player, calm down, everyone, but it feels like they've almost given him the Aaron Donald pass where they're like, hey, if you think you see something, you just go for it, man. Don't worry about what gap you're supposed to be in. Don't worry about that's for these trash linebackers behind you to fill. Like
discipline is for people that aren't good.
Yeah, like don't worry, we have plenty back there. They're plenty disciplined. So like it feels like to your point, like even if you're stretching or you're pitch planning or that, like there's some of that, and there's some of those where like he's in the backfield so quick that you're just like, yeah, that probably was supposed to go to the tackle.
That was a counter, I bet.
When your quarterback was handing it to him, that was a tough play for you. And the other thing is I think Harbaugh is a big proponent of like those little running back screens. Some of those Zach Allen's going to smell out, and those are right in the middle. Little pitch forward plays. I
didn't even think about that sort of stuff, but you're absolutely right. That's just another. It makes me feel even better about this. Yeah, It's a questionable line. It's a little fishy. So hop on it, I guess, while you can. My bonus bet is just I've been going to this well every week, so I wanted to switch it up a little bit. But Bo Nix's longest rush is 8.5. And I think it's only because they expect him to drop back to pass so little in this game because it's going to be such a slog fest. But like, he's going to do his typical 10-yard scramble. So it's minus 115. Again, it seems like free money to me. You're welcome to pick it up as your last bet if you'd like.
No, I will not. I love Trevor Lawrence. I don't love Trevor Lawrence, but I
just said Bo Nix longest rush over 8.5. It's not against Trevor Lawrence.
Nah, but you said it's my last bet. I've already given my 3. You're suggesting I should kick out the Jags.
Sorry.
No, but I do agree it's not bad. Even if Bo Nix's like overall rushing stats haven't been good, he typically gets one that goes over 10. So
yeah, I mean, I bet on it the last 2 weeks, and the only time it didn't hit, he was a half a yard from it hitting. So
yeah,
I think this is a little bit of like that Tyrese Maxey early in his career when I was just betting him over 1.5 threes every night before people started realizing that he was good. And I'm like, just because Bo Nix is white does not mean that he cannot run the ball. He can, and he's pretty good at it. So like, they're going to get in a 3rd and long, and he's going to get pressure from Bosa, and he's going to run for 10 yards. So I just don't really understand why.
Skittish. Yeah. Like, that's the other thing. Like, if it's a 3rd and 20 and maybe a veteran hangs in to try to get the 20 yards, rookies take off for the 11.
No, thank you. I'll pad those stats, baby.
Yeah. And your wallet loves it if you have over 8.5. All right. Just to recap, for myself, I am taking Sutton under 4.5 receptions, parlaying that with Javonte over 2.5 receptions. That's plus 156. That's a winner. Then the Patriots plus 6.5, minus 104. That's a winner. The Jags money line minus 102. Maybe that's a winner, is what the podcast is saying. But if we're 2-1 with a plus 156,
yeah,
we're doing A-okay there, Ryan.
Living, baby. Living.
Yeah. What did you have this week, Ryan? Remind the people.
Yeah. So I got Patrick Surtain over 3.5 tackles and assists. It's minus 130. I have Zach Allen over 4.5 tackles and assists. That's plus 125. And what did I do? I did under 30.5 plus 130 something, Dan? Something like that?
Plus 170, I thought you got.
Oh.
175.
Yeah, it was plus money for sure. So, yeah. I also gave out 2 bonus bets of Bo Nix over 8.5 rushing yards at minus 115 and the under 17.5 first half at minus 115.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I see a lot of green, a lot of winners in our future. We were a little out of sync the first few weeks. We're getting our feet under us, but now on solid ground, we're ready to take off.
I think my NFL was delayed because I was on a rafting trip, which was a wonderful time. I wouldn't have changed it, but like everything was delayed a week. You know, I had my first week where I was still getting into the groove of things, and your brain is adjusting to watching 10 games at once and betting on all these things and watching all these teams. And now I feel like I'm really getting into a groove. So. And Sophie's going to be gone, so I'm going to watch all these games again this weekend. So
beautiful thing.
It's wonderful
thing.
It's not wonderful. It's okay, I would say. She actually listens to the podcast, so we'll see if she listens to this or not.
Yeah, I meant it's a wonderful thing to watch football, not that Sophia's way. To be clear, to clarify for
those who may be listening.
And any other women in our lives. We love having you there on Sundays, as long as we can watch football.
Yeah, you can. Watch football. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a great time.
All right. Just quick listener note. Next week we're gonna do 2 podcasts. So we're gonna come Monday we'll do reaction to this game, and then we're turning around for the quick preview for the Saints. And then Saturday, we're going to do our NBA season preview. We're going to break down the Nuggets. We're going to break down everything in the NBA. And we'll get you ready for the home opener versus the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I found a ticket stub from an Oklahoma City versus Denver Nuggets game that Mom got me a ticket to when I was at OU in like 2016 maybe. And I looked up the box score because I was pretty sure that this was the case. But I think it's still the only game where 3 teammates have had a triple-double in the same game. It was Serge Ibaka, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook for the Thunder. It was double OT, and these were like the doldrums of the Nuggets. But Mom was teaching one of the assistant coach's kids, so she got his tickets like in the family section behind the bench. And it's me and my 2 roommates, and we had a blast. I have a picture from Birdman after that game, so blast from the past, baby.
Sounds great to me. Hopefully we can relive some better memories than that. As far as
we won the game.
not the opposing team.
We won the game.
But you never know. So thank you for listening. We will be back next week. Go Avs. Please stop letting in 8 goals. Go Broncos. Please score more than 8 points. And go Nuggets. Please just stay healthy.
Bye.
Blucifer Brothers is a Crab Shell Media podcast.